Welcome, BMF fans. We are back to cover episode 2 of season 3 entitled Magic Makers. Before I begin, just let you know I'm recapping every single episode this season. So make sure you like and subscribe and turn on your notifications not to miss any reviews. So, this episode, I'm really not too crazy about. It moved really fast, but I think with this episode, even though it's early in the season, I think the fact that it moves so fast, it took a lot away from the weight of the scenes, and you really kind of at the end of it didn't really feel much, in my opinion. So I kind of wanted to start with how the episode began with Markeisha and Terry. This was a big plot point in the opening episode about him sleeping with another man's wife, and Terry, her risking, both of them risking their lives, in the assassination attempt, and them deciding against their families and everything to be together. And at the beginning of the episode, all that's out the window. He literally moves all his stuff in. And before he's settled, Keisha is telling him that this can't work. We need to be separated for a little while. And that's it. Terry basically says, "Oh, you want a break? Fine." And by the end of the episode, he's hugged up again with Lawanda, the same Lawanda that was telling him last episode, "I wish you would have got shot in that assassination attempt." She's sitting there pregnant and all is forgiven. And I think the fact that this happened so quickly, it takes away from the weight of that storyline. I know there's still a lot that's probably going to be told there. Essentially, I think that Boom is going to come back in the picture or people associated with him. It's not over yet. But the fact that Terry is basically back with Lawanda and is having no worries, that kind of kills that storyline before it even gets off the ground. The second thing was the whole new connect. The Loco character himself is pretty funny, but the way he was introduced, you see him as kind of like a serious character. You think he's going to be one of those brooding, dangerous connects that we've seen in Power nearly every season. But no, he's almost like kind of like a buddy cop, almost comic relief relationship with Meech. The way that they go about when the shootout is happening. Obviously, Loco has plot armor. He's sitting up there without a care in the world while all the bullets are going around. The scene was just comical. So that was another situation where there really wasn't too much tension for me. They're claiming that they're going to have all these problems finding a new connect. They find a new connect within 10 minutes. And the whole situation, the only good thing that kind of came out of that to me is it's going to push the situation forward with Henrietta and Blaze, because now Henrietta feels snubbed, and now she's feeling the walls closing because Terry has a good connect with good work, and that's going to be flooding not only his territory, but her territory as well. And now we also see the tension that she had with her father, Blaze, because Blaze is actually instructing her about how to run her organization. Now she has to put in Detective Bryant within the group, and that's going to bring in a whole new dynamic because now we know Brian has some affiliation and loyalty to the Flannerys. So when they eventually clash, I think Henrietta is already behind the eight ball and she doesn't even know it yet. So that's one plot point that I'm actually really interested in seeing how that develops. And then when Kelly Hu, when her character and her new partner comes in the picture, where her loyalty is going to lie, because now she's already um, not really rocking with Detective Bryant. Now, when she realizes that he's in another criminal organization, that's going to make things really bad. Even though I know that she wants his son to get out of prison, she's going to have to make a decision where her loyalties lie between her badge and also feelings for or residual feelings for her partner's son. So that's one storyline that I'm actually am a little bit intrigued about. But besides that, I think the big thing was Lucille. Lucille finally getting her mojo back, feeling desired. Her previous old prom date appears out of nowhere, is looking good, is distinguished as a doctor, has his own thing going, and he has his eyes completely set on her. Heavy pressure from the beginning. It was really funny scene because her daughter has never seen her like that, not even with her father. So she's looking like, Mom, what is going on here? And Lucille is completely smitten. And unfortunately, I feel like Lucille is going to end up having the same thing happen to her, which is what happened with Charles. Going out in the streets, there's nothing good out here in the streets for you. There's a reason why the good doctor is still single after all this time. And I feel like Lucille is going to get a crushing heartbreak from that entire situation. But in the meantime, she's going to have a little fun. And then it's going to be really interesting to see how Charles handles that. He's already neutered in his own house. Now he's going to see his wife feeling sexy, feeling attractive, feeling desired, and none of that is coming from him. So that's going to be a big blow up because don't let that mess come out and her church family finds out. Their business has already been out there. That's going to be a whole big situation. But that was a highlight scene for me, or scene for this episode for me, was seeing Lucille and that interaction with the doctor, and then also later on, her trying to have her birds and bees conversation with her daughter. And there's nothing worse than your child calling you on your nonsense, seeing through all your BS and just calling you on it, which her daughter did. And Lucille had no answer for her. She just literally had to scurry back into her bedroom. So that was a funny scene, and we'll see how that develops throughout the season. I think that's going to be, the way BMS moves. I think we're probably going to get maybe 2 or 3 episodes of this whole situation with the doctor, but I think it's going to be resolved by mid-season. I think what also hurt this episode is that some of the other intriguing characters that we had introduced this season, the Miami boys and also the Techwood boys, didn't really get a lot of shine this episode. We know there was a Miami killer assassination squad that tried to take out the Flannerys, but they were nameless assassins and were taken out just like that. So they've been kind of shortchanged, even though they were spoken about in the opening episode. So we're going to see what they're going to be able to do next episode. But I'm assuming the Techwood Boys, the Red Dogs, everyone that was introduced in the first episode are going to be taking center stage in the third episode, and we'll see how Meech is able to navigate all of them. Speaking of Meech, his biggest play was not actually finding that connect, but was working through the strippers. That was his biggest move. He's already in Angel's ear, and through her, he's going to be able to connect with all the major players in the city. And that's, of course, going to lead to a problem with Greenie. Greenie is actually smitten on Angel because Angel, he's brought her up from the ground up. That's his prized possession. And we already see Greenie looking at Meech, side eyeing him. Meech doesn't respect him, so he's already looking at it like, you don't really have any emotion in Atlanta as far as knowing all the big players. You're just, supplying women, and that's it. So Meech doesn't really respect him on that level. That's why he's willing to move in on his women like that. But Meech is going to be tender about this situation, and he's going to go to probably either the Tetwood Boys or the Miami Killers to set up Meech, and that's going to lead to his demise. So I think, good old Neo is going to be out of here by mid-season as well. But, like I said, not really a strong episode to me, but a couple good scenes with Lucille. Also, Charles talking with Terry about telling him basically, don't be like me, don't neglect your family, don't, try and impress everybody else outside of your family, and then you realize too late that you've lost your family. And that's the kind of what Terry was trying, well, excuse me, Charles was trying to impart on Terry, with that scene that they had. So, I think things are going to pick up more so next episode, and this was just kind of like a bridge to move along in the season. You don't want to see filler episodes this early in the season, but this is what this kind of felt like. But let me know what you think. Let me know if this was an improvement for you over the opening episode, and where you feel like things are going this season as far as your most intriguing storyline so far. But I'll be back next week to talk about episode 3, and make sure you like and subscribe, and I will see you guys next week. Enjoy your weekend.